Hello, everyone. I want to introduce myself. My name is Paul Lawrence Vann, and I'm the founder of Wealth Building Academy LLC, which is an educational company with a focus on leadership development, and also diversity and inclusion. And one of the things I want to talk to you about today on this particular podcast episode is the power of leadership and the ability to be able to influence people. And why is this important? Because we all know that as part of this post-pandemic that everyone is experiencing, that the business climate has changed remarkably. And we can all attest to that. And we also know that there were a lot of people who are still working from home, remote employees. And we also know about the great resignation. So all of these things are kind of filling themselves out, but in the end, it really all comes down to leadership. Unless you really understand what leadership is all about, you can actually get lost in the process, and we don't want that to happen. So again, I just want to welcome you to the very first episode as we talk about leadership is influence. Let me give you a little bit of background on myself and what this particular podcast is all about. For myself, I grew up in North Carolina. I'm one of 10 children. And so I had a lot of leadership taking place with my mother and my father. And what I mean by that is that I learned at a very young age about responsibility and accountability, which are some traits of leadership. But I took my first leadership lessons from both of my parents, who are hardworking people, and I've learned from it since I was in my youth. I went on to play high school football. I also was on the track team. So again, there was leadership taking place. But one thing happened to me in college. And when my junior year was coming up, I was offered the opportunity to attend the Air Force basic training up at Dover, Delaware. And I went, and for 6 weeks, I learned Air Force history. I learned how to march. I went through survival training. I flew on the first plane I ever flew in my life was a C-5, which was about the length of a football field. And so I was learning about leadership as I went along. And for the next 2 years, I attended the 2-year Air Force ROTC program where I learned about leadership. And then after that, I graduated from college and I was commissioned a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. And fast forward, I served over 20 years and I retired in the rank of lieutenant colonel. And all along, what was taking place was I was learning about leadership. I had a squadron officer school. I had Air Command and Staff College, and then I had War College. So leadership is what it's all about. And before I retired, I attended and participated as a Capitol Hill Fellow. So I worked for a member of Congress in the U.S. House of Representatives, and he was on the House Armed Services Committee. And so there was leadership taking place all along. And after I retired from the United States Air Force, I became a contractor for about 2 years, and then I decided to go out on my own. I became an entrepreneur, and I started speaking throughout the United States and also in Canada. And why am I here today? Well, when it comes down to what my strength is leadership. And I want to share that with you so that you can become the best leader that you can be. So, what this particular podcast is really all about, it's about helping you to better understand what leadership is about, to position yourself to become a leader, and also to be a good team, be a part of a good team as well. And one of my mantras is this, is that leaders have the responsibility to develop other leaders within their organization. They have the responsibility to help their managers to become better leaders, and the managers have a responsibility to help the employees to become better leaders. And what does this all do? Well, it all has to do with strengthening the organization, because in the end, it's all about the business performance of the organization. And if a person happens to be in the leadership role, then they are responsible for everything taking place within that organization and within that company, whether they're in the corporate world, they're in small business, or they happen to be working for a company. Some people think that leadership is all about being a dictator, but it really isn't. That's the sign of a bad leader. Leadership is all about giving other people and delegating them the responsibility, putting them into leadership roles, and then looking at the best candidates to eventually become a leader. But when there are more people in the organization who have leadership experience, they have leadership training, in addition to uh, really going after the objective of helping their team, then that's a strong organization. That's a very strong organization. One of the things that I want to pass on to you is that when I attended Squadron Officer School, we had a speaker that came in. It was Admiral Grace Harper. And this is one of her quotes, which I never forgot, and it made a big impression on me. And she stated that the following, and she stated that a lot of people, they come in and they manage things and resources, and they lead people. And far too often we've overmanaged people, and we forgot about leading. And that's one quote that really stands out with me. Again, that was from Admiral Grace Harper. She is the founder and was on the cutting edge of COBOL and a lot of the computer languages that are even used to this day. And she's since passed away, but it was one of the great leaders that I met over the course of my career. So back to leadership. And this podcast is really all about taking you from where you are and your understanding of what leadership is, and to you becoming the best leader that you can be. And just because you may be new to the company, it doesn't mean that you should not know what leadership is. I always use this example in life. Everyone is a leader. And people ask me, well, I'm not a leader. They think it's all based on the title, but it has nothing to do with the title. Everyone has a life, and we have to lead our life. That's the starting point of leadership. How we go about each and every day of our lives has everything to do with leadership. And as we know in life, some leaders are better than others. And my point to you is that through this podcast, I'm going to provide you with a lot of tools, techniques. I'll share some case studies with you. I'll share some of my personal experience and that of others with you along this journey. An important thing to understand is that when it comes to leadership today, this new dynamic economy that we happen to be in, with businesses really kind of getting their sea legs back under them after the horrendous pandemic, is for them to really start understanding that the key to moving forward is strong organizations. If you don't have a strong organization, then you won't last. But if you have leadership, the performance of the organization will be better than the competitors. And you always want to be your best at whatever you do. After all, who wants to work for a bad company? No one. I never want to work for a bad company. And so you say, oh, well, you were in the military. Well, I wasn't just in the military. After 8 years, I separated and I went to work for a mobile oil company in Beaumont in Houston, Texas. So I have not only the military and our government, but I also have the private industry at a Fortune 500 company. And so I can evaluate leadership from different perspectives, like many of you can as well. But again, when it comes down to leadership, it's really all about having the capacity to influence others, influencing them positively. And some of the things that people can do to help themselves to become better leaders is to get involved. Don't just sit back in a meeting and say nothing. If you show me a successful person, that person asks a lot of questions, because questions give you answers that you need to help you to become better at what you do. And that's really what this podcast is all about. I'm going to be sharing a lot of things. I'll also bring in other people that I will interview over the course of the year. And it's going to be a great experience for you. And as you can see, this is the introductory episode here. And it's going to be episodic, meaning I'll produce different episodes each week, if not 2 or 3 times a week. But if you want to learn more about me, you can simply just go to my website, which I have here streaming. It's www.paulvannspeaks.com. If you want to hit me up with an email, you can do so at info@paulvannspeaks.com, or simply give me a call at toll free 800-341-6719. And again, my objective is help you to become the best leader that you can be. And even if you don't have the title, you'll be able to contribute at a greater productivity level as a result of understanding it, having the same vision as the designated leader who has the title with the manager and with the employees. And it's like a tripod. You have the leader, you have the manager, and you have the employee. And then when I'm conducting training, leadership development training, it's me as the facilitator, it's the manager, and the employees. And it may very well be not only the managers, but also who's in the leadership position in addition to the employees, because you cannot have one without the other. And that's the most important thing to understand. And again, I'm going to bring this particular introductory episode to an end, and I would love to hear from you. So just hit me up on the email at info@paulvannspeaks.com. And if you have any questions, and I look forward to working with you, and I'll have another episode coming up by week's end, and that's going to help you to better understand a little bit more about me. I look forward to understanding more about you, and I would love for you to post some questions. Also, you can send to my email, which is info@paulvannspeaks.com. But go visit my website, www.paulvannspeaks.com, and or give me a call at 800-341-6719. Again, my name is Paul Lawrence Vann. I'm a, a I'm a leadership speaker, so I also deliver speeches to different corporations, associations, colleges, and universities. And I also provide leadership development training. Sometimes it's for a year, sometimes 6 months, 4 months. And I would love to learn more about your organization to see how I can help you and to get you moving forward. But when you go to my website, you'll be able to see the different training that I offer. And I offer it from a comprehensive standpoint. It's either a corporation wants to move forward and really excel at what they do, but they don't want to just come in and get 1 or 2 sessions. You really want to get the entire session so that you can help your organization locally, and then also maybe have it spread out throughout the country, and then even maybe outside the country as well. So again, I'd like to thank you, and I really encourage you to have your friends and colleagues tune in to this particular episode here with me, and it's titled Leadership is Influence. And I'll get more into that in the very next episode. So thank you very much. And I look forward to sharing even more expertise with you, getting more in depth, and then taking on some of your questions as they pertain to how you can become a better leader. Have a great day, and thank you so much. Again, my name is Paul Lawrence Vann, and enjoy your day. Goodbye.